Wise. Welcome to class. We'll get started in a comfy position today, and if you can grab your blocks or block substitutes and a strap substitute, and then a strap substitute, and then find your way to a comfy pose. And I invite you to close your eyes or take a soft gaze at the floor in front of you. I'm going to get some music started here. And just begin some slow breathing, inhaling through the nose, exhaling with a sigh out the mouth. Noticing any sticky spots or spots of tension or soreness. Maybe let your chin dip to your chest. And perhaps set an intention for today's practice. Something you'd like for yourself or the world. Something that you need in your life from yourself or from others. And we'll take 3 deep rounds of breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling with a loud sigh out the mouth, feeling that intention settle into your heart and mind. Filtering through the body and soul. Ready? Inhale. Inhale. Last time. Inhale. And then let the eyes flutter open. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Exhale, twist over to the left, let the arms come down. Inhale, arms up, come back to center. Exhale, open those arms over to the right. 2 more breaths on each side. Inhales, bringing the arms up and through center. Exhales, twisting to either side, perhaps letting hands come to the floor to deepen the twist. And then coming back to center, hands over the head. Let the chest just melt over the lap and the head droop heavy. Notice if one hip sits tighter than the other. Any tension in the back. And then interlace the fingers and place them behind the head, tucking the chin to the chest, and sit up nice and tall. Allow the eyes to close and relax the head and neck as you allow the hands to pull you into a stretch. And breathe. And then slowly release the hands from the neck and look up. Place left hand on the right side of the head and gently pull the head over. And bring your right arm out beside you, reaching it out long. So we're trying to get this whole line of a stretch through the neck and shoulder and arm. The further you reach your fingertips away from the shoulder, the deeper you'll feel it. And slowly release and sit up tall. And bow your head to the other side, stretching through the neck, elongating through the shoulder and all the way to the fingertips. As we enter into flu shot season, I like this stretch after I get a flu shot. Or any shot. And slowly raise the head up, bring your arms out to the sides to goddess posture. Inhale, arc the back, bring the elbows together. Exhale, press the elbows out wide and bring the belly forward. 4 more. And then bring your arms up overhead, grab opposite elbows with opposite hands, and slowly drag those elbows backwards. You're not letting them fall back, but gently pulling, opening up the shoulders. And release and swooping the hands down to clasp behind you. Holding your own hand, opening the chest, look up. Maybe you lift the arms up as you fold down. Breathing here. And release those hands, sitting up tall. And making your way onto your hands and knees. 5 rounds of cat-cow here, maybe taking a little sway of the hips from side to side to start yourself off. And then inhale, belly lowers, look up. Exhale, arc the back, lift the belly button. If you're seated, you can take the same movement, but with your hands on your knees. And settling back into your table, taking some leg circles, lifting the left leg up so that it's parallel to the floor, arcing it back, stretching that leg out long, and then bringing it back down to the ground. And you'll do 5 of those on each side. If you're in a seat, you can still hug the knee into the chest, and then you'll step it out wide and circle it back behind you on the floor. So pull in, step out, circle back. Woo! If you're seated, hopefully you won't lose your balance. And when you're ready, you can switch over to the right. Trying to make this nice and slow and intentional, engaging inner and outer thigh, working on both strength and flexibility. And once you've finished with those, take a moment to sway your hips deeply from side to side. If you're seated, this can be a little bit more of a rock, like a bad dance move. And then we'll take some hip rocks to open those hips. Step the left leg out so that the heel is in line with the hip. And sit the hips back. You don't have to come all the way to the ground. It's a little bit of a rocking motion. So you start to sit back until you feel a nice deep stretch on the inner thigh. And hold for a moment. And then come forward and just work your way through a few rounds on the left. And then bring that left leg in and step out that right leg. And coming back to your table, inhale, right arm to the sky. Exhale, thread right arm underneath left armpit. Left hand can be out in front or curling along the back. Thread the needle. 2 more breaths. Next, inhale, unwind, right arm comes to the sky. Exhale, settle back down to table. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, thread underneath the right arm. Right arm can come out in front or wrap around behind you. Deep breaths here. Next, inhale, unwind, left arm comes back up. Exhale to table and then touch big toes together, sit hips back to heels, extend arms out in front of you for child's. Rolling the head side to side from temple to temple and giving baby shifts in the hips. Option to let your chest just melt deeply into the floor, consciously pressing it downwards as you walk the hands forwards. And either holding here or walking the hands over to the right for a couple of breaths, and then the left. Either way, trying to breathe so deeply that you can feel it swirling around you. Bringing your hands back to center, lifting up onto the hands and knees, and making your way back to your seat. Legs out long in front of you, feeling free to grab a strap if you have one and would like to use it. For all of these stretches, if you're seated up, you can extend your legs out the same way and use the strap wrapped around the ball of the foot to pull you down at an angle. Or you can wrap it underneath the calf and pull up. If you're seated along the floor, pull the fleshy part of your bum out from underneath you, settle into those sits bones. Inhale, arms up tall. Exhale, dolphin dive forward towards those toes, keeping those feet nice and flexed. And maybe grasping the feet or letting the hands fall along the floor. Deep breaths. Always an option to fold a blanket in between your chest and the legs for a little bit more cushioning. Placing the hands on the outside of the legs, walking yourself up, bending the right knee in so you can bring your right foot to the inside of the left thigh, or you can keep it up, whatever is more comfortable for you. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, dive forwards. And we're going to hold here for 5 breaths. Sitting up tall once more and lifting that right knee up so the sole of the right foot is on the ground. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, twist over to the right, catching the left elbow on the right knee for some traction in the twist. Inhales, grow the spine taller. Exhales, we twist a little deeper. Rolling back to center, sending that right leg out long, tucking that left leg in. Inhale, arms up, exhale, dive forwards, 5 breaths. Walking yourself back up tall and bringing that left knee up. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, twist over to the left. Keeping that right foot flexed and those right fingers out strong. Engaging the energy through all body parts. Twisting back through center, sending the left leg out long. Give your legs a little shake. And then bend the left knee so that the left leg is parallel to the front of the mat. And send the right knee in line with the right hip, right ankle below right knee. So you've got a 90-degree up in front of you and a 90-degree of your right leg out to the side. We're gonna grow our arms tall and then fold down over our left legs for this 90-90 stretch. If you're seated, you can lift the left ankle on top of the right knee and fold down, engaging that same deep stretch in the left hip. Keep breathing. Notice that the longer you hold, the more of a release you'll begin to feel in that left hip. And then without raising the chest, bring the right knee into the sole of the left foot. So it's just kind of like you're stepping on top of your right knee with your left foot. And begin to walk your hands over towards the left. So coming into that seated stag twist. Just twisting yourself around, maybe raising up on your hands to twist a little deeper. If you're seated, keeping the same leg set up, bringing the arms to goddess and twisting around. Left hand to right knee for support. And breathe. Walking yourself back to center and switching sides, bringing both knees up and then switching your legs. So the left leg is out to the side, right leg is out in front, coming into that 90-90. Arms up and melt down. Yoga is all about this balance of making sure that what you do on one side, you do on the other. But I always like to remember that if one side is feeling stiffer, it's okay to hold that side a little bit longer to bring it back closer to equilibrium with the one that's already feeling loose and relaxed. And when you're ready, drag your left knee into the sole of the right foot and walk your hands around, bringing yourself into that spinal twist. And when you're ready, walking yourself back through center, bringing both knees up to the sky, perhaps taking a couple of releases from side to side. Before coming back onto your hands and knees. And I'd like you to lift all of your fingertips up off of your mat and then place them down one by one from pinky finger all the way to thumb. Noticing the engagement of each pad of the fingertip. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, extending through those shoulders. Like you're trying to raise your booty to the sky. Maybe you walk out the dog, bending one knee and then the other. And hold for 5 deep rounds of breath. Next, inhale, raise up to the toes. Exhale, bring your feet to your hands. Inhale, arms up to the sky, and exhale, side body stretch over to the left. Holding here as you breathe. And coming back up to center, and then side body stretch over to the left. Back up nice and tall, and exhale, deep fold. Perhaps grabbing opposite elbows and taking a slight bend in the knees. Opening up the backs of the legs. Trailing the fingertips up the body to stand up. Make your way to the front of the mat. We're gonna take 3 rounds of flow. For the first one, I'll walk through knees, chest, chin to cobra, and then we'll do chaturanga to up dog, and then knees, chest, chin to cobra again. Feel free to take any one of those exclusively if it feels better to you, or join me in our little variations. Bringing your feet underneath your hips, raising up the toes, and then splaying them wide like your little duck. Hands by your sides, palms shining forward, chest wide, chin tall. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, swan dive forward to the fold. Inhale, raise on the fingertips, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to a nice strong plank. Deep inhale. Exhale, lower the knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, keep those elbows in as you snake the chest forward, lift up, cobra. Exhale, tuck toes, lift hips, down dog for 5 breaths. Inhale, lift up onto the toes. Exhale, bring your feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands by your sides. Next round, chaturanga. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank, deep inhale. Exhale, lowering chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 5 more breaths. Always remembering that child's pose is there for you. Inhale to the toes. Exhale, bring your feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands down by your sides. One last time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Deep inhale. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward dog. Last 5 breaths. Inhale to the toes. Exhale, lowering down onto the knees. Walk the hands in and bring them onto the hips. And step the right foot out, keeping the right foot in line with the right hip, coming onto the top of the left foot. Bringing left arm down to the mat, right arm overhead, nice side body stretch. We're gonna flow from this position in gate, perhaps putting a blanket underneath the knee or standing up if this is uncomfortable. And then swaying out in front, reaching forward to feel that stretch in the back of the thigh and coming over the right leg, coming onto the heel. Toes reach up towards the sky. So we've got this nice big sweep from opening to the side in gate to swooshing on top of our right leg, toes up towards the sky. And take a few times on your own breath. If you're seated, you can just step your right leg out and reach over to the left side and then swoop into the stretch as well. Pausing the next time you're extended in gate. Working on a little bit of outer hip strength here. Play with balancing, lifting that toe off of the ground, trying to keep long in the side if you need to come up onto those fingertips or a block. Lifting that hip up, seeing if you can engage the outer thigh to raise and lower. And then just touching the toe down to the ground, extending out for a balance here, not placing weight in those toes. Option 1, hold here. Option 2, bend the heel towards the bottom and see if you can grasp those toes behind you. Coming into a modified half moon. It would be more comfortable, you can stand up in full half moon. Got one more breath here. Extend all your limbs out, release and come back up tall. Stepping the left leg out, right arm comes down. Extend the left arm overhead, deep stretch. And then swoosh out in front and over those left toes. Back and forth. Really reaching those hips forward as you swoop over and up. And then as you come back over the foot, reaching out for those toes. One more time. Coming back to the gate, engaging that hip, lift and lower. My bandana is doing all kinds of funky things. And then maybe you balance on the toes, or maybe you reach the heel towards the bottom, and perhaps you reach that hand back. Deep breaths. One more breath. Extending out, lowering slowly, and raising the body up. Tucking both knees in, big toes touch, hips back to heels, extend for child's. Perhaps taking the knees wider than the mat for a slightly deeper hip release. Just breathe. Slowly peeling the chest off the floor and walking the hands underneath the shoulders. Coming back to your table. Taking a moment to sway from side to side. Bringing movement into the hips. And then stepping left foot to left thumb. Coming into your low lunge, you can tuck the toes if you'd like. Right hand stays flat on the floor. The left arm reaches up for the opening, the twisting of the shoulders. Option if you'd like to twist the hand around back and reach for opposite hip. Always the ability to come up into a higher lunge. If you'd like the knee raised off of the floor. Working on some balance here. Shift the hips back slightly, raising the right hand off the ground. Placing it on the left knee, not using that for traction, just as a point placement. And then your left arm reaches out over to the right side. So I'm in my low lunge, right hand on left knee. Left arm overhead. Deep breath. Not pulling that knee in, just resting on the thigh even. And then lower both hands onto the floor, framing the left foot. Sit the hips back. Left toes reaching towards the floor, folding over the thigh. Perhaps walking hands underneath the shoulders. Holding here, option one, option two, roll onto the heel and sit the hips back, not coming all the way down. Hovering in whatever pose. You feel a nice deep engagement along the outer thigh and calf. Walk the hands forward once more. Shift the hips, coming back into the lunge with the left leg forwards. Arms reach up towards the sky, growing so tall, and then beginning to arc back for the crescent, not crunching in the low back, but growing up and arcing backwards. Couple of breaths here. You can even grasp the hands together. Middle ring and pinky fingers intertwine. And then hands frame the left foot, tuck the right toes and step left foot back to right, down dog. Walk it out. When you're ready, stepping right foot to right thumb. Left knee can stay high or lower down. Left arm plants firmly on the floor. Right arm opens up. Enjoying that nice shoulder and chest opening. You're giving someone a really awkward side hug. Shift the hips back ever so slightly, lifting the left hand up, placing it on the thigh for balance, and then right hand reaches over to the left side, taking that side body stretch, that balance, counterbalance. And then framing the top foot as you unwind, sitting the hips back, extending through the right leg. Breathing into the fold, the deep stretch. Never wanting a stretch to go above a pain level of 5 to 6. Couple more breaths. Walk the hands forward as the right knee bends, arms track up towards the sky, chest reaches up to the ceiling, lean back. Slowly grow the spine tall, lifting the neck up, frame the right foot. Tuck left toes, step right foot back to left, downward dog. Option to hold here or lowering into dolphin, placing the forearms on the floor, but still extending through those shoulders. 4 more breaths. Lowering the knees down to the ground when you're ready. Touching big toes together. Sit hips back to heels. Extending through the child's pose. I'm going to set a timer for a few of our remaining stretches. We're going to aim to hold child's pose for 1 minute if that feels good to you. Just allowing the body to settle and stretch itself. Pulling yourself up to table. Make sure your ankles are in line with the knees. You can tuck the toes and then send your arms out long for puppy. So we're reaching our chest down to the ground, and my chin or forehead can be on the floor. So I'm going to lift up my one arm so you can see what puppy looks like for me. I tend to keep my chin and chest down. or my forehead down while my chest levitates. You're trying to keep your hips in line with your knees. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes my hips are back a little further, a little bit more forward, but this is what we're aiming for sometimes. Both arms along the ground, feeling that deep shoulder stretch in the tops, backs of the shoulders. Once again, not letting a deep stretching level go above a 5 or a 6. And coming out, if ever it feels uncomfortable. 30 more seconds here. Walking the hands in as you sit the hips back to heels, coming into child's for 30 more seconds to let the hips and shoulders unwind. Taking some deep yin poses, because deep stretches are a good counter to our deep sitting that seems to occur during our work days at this time. Feeling your chest off of the mat, coming back into your table. Taking 5 more rounds of cat-cow here. Inhale, belly lowers, look up. Exhale, arc the back, tuck the chin. Making your way onto your seat, grasping your strap or your block if you have it. If not, grabbing a pillow or a blanket that's nearby, or there are ways to do all of these things without any of those supplies. First things first, bringing those legs out long, flexing the feet. Pull the fleshy part of your bum out from underneath you. If you'd like to have a block or a book on either side to support the arms as you come down, or one up tall to reach towards in between the feet. Otherwise, it's our same long leg stretch. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, diving down. Holding for 30. Perhaps noticing any shaking of the thighs from deep release after deep strength. Sitting up tall, bringing the right foot into the right thigh, or bending it back behind right hip. If you'd like to use a block, you can use it to support your forehead when you lean down. Hands coming to the left foot, to the strap, or to the floor. Hold for 30, maintaining that flexing of the foot. When I first started doing yoga, I had so much trouble remembering to flex my feet. I still do. I think about it all the time. I was a dancer at the time, and I was used to point your toes, point your toes. Ten more seconds. Healing yourself up and switching sides, right leg out long, left leg tuck in or around back, and folding yourself down. 30 seconds. Healing up. Coming into butterfly, soles of the feet together. We'll hold for 1 minute here. So if your hips are feeling super tight, bring them further, bring the heels further away from the hips. If they're feeling a bit more open, tuck them in nice and close. If you're seated on a chair, you can come into a very nice wide-legged squat and melt the chest forward onto the lap or chair. Breathing that spine long and then pulling it down. If you'd like a blanket to fold in between the chest and the lap, you can always do that. Change the music before the playlist ends. Otherwise, it plays whatever I listened to last, and that was Ellie and AJ, in case you want a Disney throwback. Healing yourself up. Stretching the shoulders back, taking a few shoulder rolls forwards and backwards. Laying down long on the mat along your back. Hug the knees into the chest, pressing the lower back into the mat, middle back, shoulder blades. Reach the legs up towards the sky, flexing the feet. And then engaging the core, lowering the right leg down, down, down. Maybe you hover at around 6 inches, feeling those lower abs. And then settle. Bending the left knee and pressing the right hand into it to cross it over to the right side of the body. Trying to keep both shoulders on the mat, but obviously the hip will come off. Bringing your left arm out to a T and gazing out to those fingertips. Holding in the supine twist. Sorry, I gotta move my timer. Rolling back, extending that left leg back up to the sky and either wrapping a strap around the ball of the foot or interlacing the hands behind the thigh, hugging it into the chest. If you're seated, you can wrap the strap along the foot and pull it up towards you. Holding here. My leg is very shaky today. Bending that knee in towards the armpit and grabbing the pinky side of the foot, taking a moment in half happy baby, using your right hand over right hip to ground the right side. And then slowly release and send the left leg out long. Bringing both feet up tall again, and then slowly lowering the left foot, engaging the core. Perhaps hovering at 6 inches, feeling those lower abs. And then releasing, bending the right knee, and using left hand to pull the right knee over to the left side. Look out to the right. I normally find that there's one side in these stretches where I don't feel it too much, and the next side I'm like, oh, how did I sit with this hip all day? Bringing that right hip back down towards the ground, extending right leg up, hugging it into the chest. And coming into half happy baby on the right side. And sending that right leg long along the mat. Give your knees a little shake. Let the toes wave from side to side. And then bend the knees and hug them into the chest. Feeling the lower back lift off the mat ever so slightly. And push both knees over to the left. Look out to the right. And rocking through center. Push both knees to the right. Look out to the left. Knees back into the chest, and then plant the soles of the feet along the floor. Couple of options for our final pose. Option 1, allowing the knees to droop open as the soles of the feet meet for reclining Baddha Konasana, a hip opener. You may want to have your hands ready to support the thighs to bring them back together. Option 2, a hip strengthener, placing the feet firmly underneath you, lifting the hips up and scooching the shoulders together, perhaps grasping hands underneath the back if you have room. Wherever you're at, let's see if we can hold our final pose for 30 seconds of strength and release. If you're in bridge, lowering the hips down. If you're in reclining butterfly, pressing those knees back up to the sky. Everyone pull your knees in towards your armpits, grab pinky sides of your feet, rock side to side in happy baby. Whenever you're ready, extending into your final meditation pose, preparing for Shavasana. I'm going to switch the music one last time. I invite you to bring your intention from earlier in the practice back to your heart and your mind, and allow it to fill you. With every inhale, allowing new energy to wash into you, filling your purpose and fueling your soul. With every exhale, allowing it to collect that which no longer serves you, for you to process and release. Allowing the breath to deepen and slow, dragging the inhales and enjoying the exhales. Just breathe. Bringing your attention back to your breath, wiggling your fingers and toes, rolling to your right side, your right arm as your pillow for a few more breaths in this space, your space. Pressing yourself up into a comfortable seated position when you're ready. Eyes closed or softly gazing at the floor in front of you. Palms open towards the ceiling or pressed together at heart center. Allowing your intention for your practice today to fill and fuel you. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. By the mercy of my teachers, have an absolutely lovely evening. Thank you all so much for joining me.